Just a quick one, King, I wanted to ask you. When we saw the Russian-Ukraine war break out, we saw dollars being censored based if you own them based on being in Russia. And I'm just wondering, like, that was a good example of some censorship happening without a CBDC. Is that something people should see as well, as in that's happening anyways? And so to assume that we can go forward with maybe a way where that doesn't happen, or how do you put that
Well, another
in?
example, perhaps one for me closer to home. There were truckers in Canada that were protesting government COVID vaccination policy. They were opposed to a policy of one party that was the party in power. And in our democratic system, we considered to be, peaceful protests to be part of our landscape. And yet that party in power used that by their oversight of banks to basically shut down their funding activities. So that's in the existing banking system. That's got nothing to do with digital currency or others. So our current system is subject to censorship, to surveillance and censorship now. That reiterates that point. I think we could, if we get it right, we could, as I said before, we could actually design sovereign and non-sovereign digital currency to be appropriately censorship and surveillance free, and yet still have appropriate law enforcement for criminal activity. In the case of what we saw in the Ukraine, I think that the crypto system worked well enough to prevent oligarchs and others from moving large amounts of capital outside of Russia and others, but yet to allow donations to be made by appropriate groups to groups in the Ukraine and others for charitable relief funds. So I think that we've seen actually a positive use of crypto, Bitcoin, and others in the Ukrainian situation. I have to confess, I'm not as familiar with that as others are. I've heard some very good people speaking about how crypto has actually served to provide relief to peoples in the Ukraine from some of the horrors of war.
So looking forward to this digital dollar, you really had something that really piqued my mind here. We can design it in a way to where as citizens, we can surveil it and make sure the government isn't surveilling us. It can be, which is something we've never heard of, honestly, Chris, before in the history of our governments. Everything that happens in DC is always behind the doors. We always hear about government corruption worldwide, and we can never prove it. I mean, I ran to be mayor of London, and I actually thought one day, what if all of the spending of this city was on the blockchain? What could we really see what was happening? But you're telling people we could build a system where we could actually tell we weren't being monitored by the transparency of the system. That is incredible if we could build that. And I think a lot of people would be into that if they could actually believe that it could be done.
Well, you and I began this conversation some time ago this afternoon, talking about the absence of trust in our current financial institutions, and that's what was squandered in the case of FTX, right? I think we can design a central bank digital currency, whether it's a digital dollar, digital pound, a digital euro, so it's operationally transparent. So it's not a government saying to its people, trust us, we're not surveilling you, trust us, we're not censoring you. So people can establish themselves technologically that their activity is not being surveilled and not being censored. That's where, again, once you go from analog to digital, those design choices are possible. You're not limited by physical limitations. That we at the Digital Dollar Project, in addition to advocating for privacy, also advocate for operational transparency. So the issue of trust is one people can establish for themselves. There's, seeing is believing, or as Ronald Reagan liked to say, trust but verify. This would be a mechanism that people can can listen to the government saying we're not surveilling you, but they can verify that the government is not surveilling you by identity. They're surveilling activity for law enforcement. It's unrealistic to think that government doesn't have a mandate to do its law enforcement job. It does. We want people that are human trafficking, that are drug running, that are peddling pornography to be able to be caught and prosecuted. We want that as a civilized society. But we want to do so in a way that privacy is not obtained in case people do wrong. Privacy is obtained when there's evidence that people have done things wrong. So these privacy enhancing techniques that we can use, and to give the operational transparency so people can establish my identity wasn't given up unless there was a pattern, and only in the situations that there was a pattern that I did something wrong. We can get there, but we all need to bend our mind. We need to get our best engineers working on this. One of the reasons why the Digital Dollar Project has created a technological sandbox where private sector actors can come together and test some of these technologies. We've created an open architecture initiative at the Digital Dollar Project so we can test out some of these open architecture approaches to it. Again, I invite your listeners to go on our website, see what we're doing. We're trying to be the private sector actor that leads a lot of these conversations that we, the people, we a free people, should want in digital money. And you know what? We invite stablecoin operators to look at this as well, because we've just got as much concern that they are operationally transparent. We have the same concern that they are using open architectures as we do as government does this as well.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. Hey, do you want to profit from crypto? Then join my DeFi Academy. The Crypto DeFi Academy will help you create generational wealth. But don't take my word for it. Listen to my students.
When I first got into crypto, I remember thinking to myself, I need to learn more. Brian Rose, learning crypto, learning DeFi, gotta do it.
I am so grateful that I jumped in and did this. I had to break through some limiting beliefs that I can do this, that I can afford this, that I can be in this.
It challenges the things that are deeply rooted within us.
Joining DeFi Academy has been one of the best decisions I have made on my blockchain journey.
This course was a life changer, a game changer, a huge eye-opener, coming from knowing practically nothing at the speed of the learning over 4 weeks was just fantastic.
The information you provided in this class was invaluable.
I feel far more confident in my next steps.
You took complex concepts and made them easier to understand.
What's different than so many other ones is it just doesn't tell you what to do. It actually makes you do it.
This is for people who are serious about becoming traders. This is the way it should be done.
I realized from this learning experience again that it is not about what you learn, but about who you learn it from.
The energy was insane. I've never experienced such incredible energy on a live call. Brian Rose, you are a legend, my friend.
It's the only thing in the market where you can get all information and learn everything what you need to know.
Everything is so clear and so well done, and I am just forever grateful for this program.
It made me feel so much more confident about crypto than I did before.
I did not anticipate how passionate I was going to become about it.
This course has been like a big learning experience for me, not just in the crypto space, but just an overall balance of life.
What I've learned is, how to take ownership, of my life in a way that I really hadn't before.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that, really.
I would recommend it to anybody, top notch.
Excellence does not come cheap. So if you want excellence, you gotta pay for it, but it's so worth it.
Pull the trigger. That's what this course is about.
You're not going to regret it, really. It's amazing.
Thank you, Brian and team.
So what are you waiting for? Crypto is happening now. Click the link below, submit your application, and let me mentor you on how to create generational wealth and build the decentralized financial infrastructure of the future.